Hey guys, make sure to check out the Bert and Leanne bundle, the best of both worlds bundle at BertBertBert.com for $40 today.
That's right. Check out the best of both worlds bundle with Bert and Leanne stuff starting today, $40 a bundle.
Everything was Crystal Energy. It just fucking overwhelmed me.
Did you ask someone, hey, do people often shit their pants
And
here?
yes, I did. And they said, absolutely not. You're the first person to ever shit his pants in this geode. It's not a normal reaction.
Most people come.
Yeah.
Maybe you had an ass-gasm.
Las Vegas, I am headed to Resorts World Theater September 27th and 28th. 2 shows only. Get your tickets at BertBertBert.com. Okay. I was obsessed with Giada's cooking show.
Yeah.
Giada's cooking show was so fucking sexy.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful house in the hills. It was in like Ojai.
Yeah,
She'd have her gorgeous friends over. Giada's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
She'd make a beautiful meal on marble tops and cook it perfectly. And I met Giada. And I was like, where do you live? And she told me. And I went, wait, what? But when you cook, which house do you guys cook at? And she goes, we rent those houses. I was like, what? She goes, yeah, we rent the houses to do the cooking show. I was, why?
Right.
You definitely want a beautiful view.
Yeah.
And it bummed me out so fucking much that because you feel like you're getting a part of their life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was obsessed with the Food Network.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I love cooking shows and stuff and combo cooking travel shows, but like I can't, I don't watch it. Like I now I have a 4-year-old and I can't go anywhere.
You have a fucking 4-year-old?
I do. I got remarried.
I was about to say. Hold on.
I had a second wave. No, I have a 23-year-old son and an 18-year-old daughter, and then I married somebody that had a 1-year-old, and I adopted her. So now I got a 4-year-old. So now, like looking at we send each. I swear we send each other. Like I just found something like the best Airbnb in the world, and it was like on the ocean in Greece. And it's like we just send it to each other to torture each other because it's like we're not going fucking anywhere. I mean, until showbiz starts up again. I got to do what you do. I don't know.
You have a great podcast.
Thank you.
You have a great podcast.
I just don't, like I said.
You're such a natural interviewer. You don't interrupt the way I do.
Thank you. Well, I feel like sometimes I do. But yeah, I just don't know how, I'm not good at self-directedness. I've always been good at getting into other things that people present me with. You know what I mean? I was never a stand-up.
Yeah.
I was an improv guy.
Yeah.
Because I am more comfortable in a group. And when I'm left to what do I want to do with myself and my time? I'm like, I don't know. And there's always somebody to tell me what they want to do. So
your podcast is over at Team Coco?
Yeah.
So did Conan say to you, you got to start a podcast?
No, actually, funnily enough, I had people, because Conan and I, we did that show together forever, but we don't talk a lot of business.
Really?
No, I mean, none of us talk a lot of business. I've had people in my life be like, what's your friend, Matt Walsh doing? I'm like, I don't know, I'm not like, hey, how's the casting situation going?
Oh, wow.
But
pull up a picture of Matt Walsh so everyone knows who we're talking about. Matt Walsh has superior calves.
Yeah.
He has superior calves.
Calves?
I told him that one time. Matt Walsh Walsh used to live in my old neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
And every year we do 4th of July parade. And Matt Walsh got on his child's, he must have children my age, I'm guessing, or maybe a little older.
His boys are, he's got probably senior in high school to 7th or 8th grade.
Yeah, he's got younger kids than me.
Yeah.
I remember we went in the parade and it's Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh is a staple of comedy, in my opinion. And by the way, the sweetest guy who would not probably remember me at all, but I've met a couple times, but he's met so many people.
Yeah.
But I said to him one time, we were in a casting session. I was sitting next to him and I'd seen him at that parade and he was on his child's bike and he was riding his child's bike.
Yeah.
And he was standing up and his calves were fucking diamonds. And I told him, I said, you have superior calves. And he was like, well, thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Very sweet guy. Wait,
Yeah.
I have so many questions. I'm gonna try to say them all now so that we cover them all.
Okay.
I want to know what it's like to be a new father again.
Yeah.
I want to know what that's like. I want to know what it's like to be a stepfather. Because if I'm not mistaken, and you are very elusive, there's very little about you on the internet. All you get are like snippets of you in conversation on your podcast about your life.
Yeah.
I knew you grew up outside Chicago.
Yeah.
I knew you grew up with a stepfather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like he wasn't a big fan of yours.
No, my stepfather was okay. We weren't super close.
Okay.
He was a lovely guy, but I have a half brother and sister who I don't, in any way think of as half. We just happen to have different fathers.
Yeah.
And so he's their dad too, but we just didn't connect much, you know? I mean, like I say, he was a really nice guy, but there wasn't we weren't super close or anything.
What were you like? What were you like in high school?
I was popular. I was funny. I was a smart ass. I played sports up to a certain point, but I couldn't go the whole, like playing football. I like to play football, but I couldn't do the whole Lord of the Flies. We got to kill him kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like being in a practice once when a kid and Mike, we were scrimmaging the freshmen and we were sophomores, and a guy took out a freshman's knee. The kid's fucking kneecap was over to one side, and he goes back and guys are high-fiving him. And I just was like, that's a fucking kid from our school, you idiot. What the fuck are you doing? And so I just I at a certain point, I actually, funnily enough too, we got a new football coach who we were gonna go to state that year. It was small school, I think we 1,500 kids total in the school, maybe probably less than that.
Yeah.
And we were gonna go to state because we were pretty good, but we just weren't getting over the hump. And so this new coach, he's gonna clean house. And at the end of my sophomore year, he has a meeting in the weight room, and he says, we're going away for the summer. And he said, okay, I'm new and I'm going to do this. He goes, we're going to have you. He goes, what we're going to do is we're going to win state this year, and we're going to come in here and we're going to have at least 2 hours of weight training and conditioning training. He said, we can't run plays and we can't put on pads or helmets because that's against the rules. But we can have, voluntary weight training and voluntary wind sprints. He goes, and I think you all know what voluntary means. And the guys all go, yeah. And I'm like, you dumb shits. He just took your fucking summer.
Yeah.
He just stole your fucking summer. And you're going, yeah. So I was just like, I'm not going fucking 2 hours a day, 5 days a week in the summertime. So I went home and I told my folks, and I was in my head, I was like, I'm not fucking playing football anymore.
Yeah.
And I went home and I told my mom and my stepdad, and God bless them, my stepdad went, well, you're going to quit, aren't you? And I was like, oh, thank you. Yes, I am. I'm going to quit, because it was I knew I wasn't going to, I liked playing football, but I liked playing basketball. I liked playing baseball. I liked playing tennis. I liked all of it, but it just wasn't the driving force of my life. So, but I was funny. And I ended up being prom king, and I was student council vice president.
Did you enjoy my draw? And I never understood this until later in life, but my draw for running for any office was always the speech.
Yeah, that was the fun part too. But I was vice president, and this makes me sound like such a dick. But the guy that was president really wanted it and was really an overachiever. And I just wanted to get out of class once a week to go have the meetings and do all the extra shit you get to, get out of stuff for. So I was like, yeah, you be president. I'll be vice president. You don't have to do anything, but just go to the meetings and sit at the front of the class. So, if he had been murdered or something, I guess I would have had to step up. But
you have always been the ultimate wingman.
a little bit. Yeah. No, I did I did have some kind of ambition to kind of do things and to get involved.
Yeah.
And, so I liked that. And I liked, I liked achieving. I got good grades. I didn't try as hard as I could. I could have got better, but I got good grades. I liked getting good grades. I liked, I was in speech team, which is basically like performing.
Yeah.
I did prose, reading short stories and doing voices for the short stories. And, got close to going to state for that, fucked up. But like my senior year, I fucked it up. I shit the bed and the sectionals.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And kind of blew it. And it was, but I just, but that, I like doing well at that. And I did, I won lots and lots of tournaments in prose. It's very weird.
I'm curious, what music were you listening to when you were driving to high school? Do you remember?
I didn't have to, I walked because we lived close.
Okay.
The music that I listened to was like new wave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Susie and the Banshees, the Smiths.
Like Elvis Costello and then Talking Heads and The Clash and all of these kind of bands because they were nobody else really listened to them. I mean, my older brother and I were like kind of, there weren't like many other kids that were listening to what we were listening to. And at the time too, you didn't hear things. You had to just take a risk. You would read a review about an album and you could just go buy it, because it's not like it was on the radio and it's not like there was an internet to hear anything on. So, Elvis Costello, Talking Heads, Joe Jackson, The Cure. You just read about them and then go buy it.
Or you get the thing that is missing, and I have to keep saying this. I have to say this at least once. And one of my favorite podcasts you've ever done is one with Jeff Tweedy.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Jeff Tweedy fan.
Thank you.
I'm a huge Wilco fan. More importantly, I am a Jeff Tweedy fan. I love the band Wilco. I think they together create some beautiful music.
Yeah.
I think they are a fucking team. But Jeff Tweedy as a person, his music, he said something to you on the podcast about he takes time to be alone and be creative.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such a brilliant thing. And I took time after listening to that and I was like, what am I going to be creative about today?
Yeah.
And I broke down something you guys had been talking about in that stand-up comedy. A lot of it that's popular speaks truth to power or speaks like, or punches up or not. And that's a weird thing because I know that
I know what you mean.
But a lot of it's like social commentary.
Yeah.
Whereas Jeff Tweedy had said, my big thing is I'm not going to fucking take on opioids, the opioid epidemic in a song I write personally.
Right.
And I connected. I was like, I wonder if that's why as a comic, I'm so connected to music. When I was getting ready for this last special, I only listened to country music.
Yeah. And
because country music, all of it tells their own personal stories about their own life.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, wow, it really blew me away that so much of the music that I love, and I love Rage Against the Machine,
Mm-hmm.
I love Public Enemy. But I never really got into the YG, I think did a Fuck Trump song. And I was like, I wish you just told more about your life. I always like that stuff when you write about your life. But it was such a fucking amazing podcast. It was so fucking, you're such a great interviewer.
Thank you.
That I literally was like, I'm obsessed. And by the way, I got to be dead honest with you. I listened to the whole fucking podcast and I was like, Jeff Tweedy should do your podcast again. Oh. He was so, if I ever get a chance to interview Jeff Tweedy, I'm going to have you come here and sit with me and just run the interview because I've never seen him, a guy that's so brilliant and prolific on stage, singing and songwriting, being so open and honest about everything in his life, about his relationship, being a father, dealing with drug addiction and all of and all of that. And you opened that dude up in a way that I've never seen him open up.
Oh, thank you.
And it was a real testament of it's why I was so excited to have you because I'm
thanks.
Because you are super honest, you are super open, and it's fun. But I always think like that. I go back to that music thing because you're right. We grew up. How old are you?
I'm 57.
So you're just a little bit older than me.
Yeah.
I'm 51.
Yeah.
We grew up in a time where music had to be shared with you, or like you said in this podcast, or you bought it and you went, oh, I made a mistake, but I that's my $9.
Yeah.
I better learn to love this mistake.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy.
Or like there's two songs on here that are okay. I'll put them on a cassette and then I just can put the album away and don't have to like skip, you know.
You were talking about AM radio and you were saying, you'd probably be like, why are they talking through the beginning? We're recording this. And I forgot.
Pushing play and record
I
with a
forgot
little microphone.
the cheat code that was listening to Q105's Top 5 at 9. I think it was Q105 or 93.3. And you'd record the Top 5 at 9 because those were the 5 best songs of the
Did
week.
they play them back to back?
They played them back to back. Here's
without
the problem
any
with it.
Oh, they would.
I used to be able to call out and go, hey, this is Bert Kreischer. I go to Berkeley Prep. I want to shout out this song. It's Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away by Motley Crue. This song goes out to Brenda Crystal or Deborah Crystal. Motley Crue, don't go. And then you'd record the post and then they hit it at the post.
Right.
But I would record those top 5 at 9s because those are the 5 best songs.
Right.
And I forgot about that. And it was a cheat code because you're like, I don't need to buy the Motley Crue album now.
Yeah. Right.
But you'd get, I mean, and the coolest thing that I think's lost on this generation is that getting the album, and I swear to God, the Beastie Boys would not be what they are today if it wasn't for them being at the time they were and dropping albums like Paul's Boutique, where you bought it because you love the Beastie Boys. They were reinventing themselves.
Yeah.
And you'd go, well, fuck, I only like 2 songs. But you'd sit and go, I better learn to love the rest of it.
Yeah,
and then Paul's Boutique is possibly one of the greatest albums that's ever been made in the entire fucking world. But I was curious about the songs that define your high school experience because mine were all over the map. It's like Will Smith. What was the oh fuck. I just did a deep dive on this guy. Fuck. Faith No More.
Oh yeah.
God, I love Faith No More.
Yeah.
You were probably.
It was kind of one of the beginning metal rap squishes, you know.
Yeah.
And that dude was like a hot leech, you know, like
stud.
Didn't he have like shaved sides, and
shaved
then
back.
like a mullet?
Yeah. And you know they covered like 2 War Pigs and another on their album. They covered Ozzy Osbourne, and I got into Ozzy because of them covering him.
Oh, really?
And so, but music was so. It was so. He's still. By the way,
that's a while ago. We're talking when he was young.
By the way, he's still good looking.
Yeah,
I follow him. He lives in San Francisco, I think.
Yeah.
I just hit him up on Instagram.
Yeah. I can't think of that song, but I know.
Yeah.
But it was mostly rap, but then there was kind of a singy chorus. I can't remember.
He went after the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think was his mistake.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
But Faith No More is a great fucking band.
Yeah. Were they before Chili Peppers?
I think they were concurrent.
One of my wife's, because she grew up here. She grew up in Whittier and La Habra.
Yeah.
And one of her dirty secrets is that she almost got a Red Hot Chili Peppers asterisk tattoo. And she's like so glad. She's like, oh my God, if I had a big fucking RHCP asterisk on my arm.
Oh.
I was like, oh yeah. That's why I never got a tattoo. And I'm so glad because every time I had thought, I'd be like, I just could never be sure that I was going to like this stuff. And then I put this like stipulation on a tattoo, which is I felt like I got to feel good about it when they're rolling me over in a nursing home bed. Like, you know, like when they're rolling me over to change the sheets and they see, you know, whatever, my Motley Crue thing. I got to still be proud of it. And there was just, I never could come up with anything that I was like, I'm going to be fine with that for the rest of my life.
We got real close in high school to getting polo ponies on our chest.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about white privilege.
Right.
A bunch of polo ponies on our chest. And then we were going to get tiger paws. And then my daughters all want to get a tat coming up. And that we're all going on vacation. They're like, we should all get one. It's everyone's excited about it. Everyone is. I'm on the fence, but everyone is. But I thought,
Do you have any?
No, I never got one. I'm so glad I didn't.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, I especially now because it's like at the time when I was young, nobody really had, you know, like sailors had them,
Yeah.
And bikers.
Do you remember seeing the first dude that had one and you're like, your parents let you get that?
It was nuts. It was
Yeah.
nuts. And then it was like when I was in college, it was like women were getting them left and right. And I was just like, and then I kind of really did feel like then you got into Lollapalooza years and the specialness of them. It's just like, well, now everybody fucking has them.
The barbed wire one around the bicep.
Or like the, Maori kind of things like that. Like, what does that have to do with or the stars, like those stars with that kind of have like a bevel in the middle? Like, what?
Chris Roberts and Bartley Rice and Bill Sansoni all got peace symbols tattooed right here. And I remember seeing them at a party on Bayshore and going, what did your parents say? I remember Bill Freitas had a spider right here. And I was like, why? What the fuck? You're in so much trouble. And then when we went to college, Ryan Rogers. I mean, this is how crazy, because I was not allowed to get them. My dad was like, you will not get one.
Yeah.
Ryan Rogers got the Rock tattoo, with the bull skull with the horns and a feather.
Yeah.
He got that on his fucking
exact same
shoulder.
one.
But this is like 1992.
Wow.
It was way before The Rock. And I was like, oh my God. It was such a crazy thing for me.
Wow.
Do your kids have any tattoos?
Yeah, my son's got a bunch of them now.
Really?
Yeah, and they're kind of random all over his body.
That's what the kids do. It's almost like a scrapbook on their body.
Yeah, and I didn't. And my son's an artist. He graduated from art school, and he's got a lot of artist friends, and a few of them are just like, I don't even think like it cost him much, but like he just kind of said like to a friend, like, do a thing here, And a couple of them have specific meaning, and then other ones are just designs. But I have to, like the first one that he showed me, because I really do feel like I didn't like growing up that everybody could tell me what to do. And I didn't like kind of the feeling that nobody really paid me any respect. Like it wasn't until I felt like I was like, I mean, they sort of like a little bit too much, like people would kind of, I was drawn into adult situations and issues just in terms of like the oversharing,
Yeah.
But when it came down to it, I did not feel like I got a lot of say in like what happened and what I'd get to do. So with my kids, I always felt like you want to pierce your ear. You want to shave your head. And even like you want to drop out of school, as long as you're happy, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Really is you're pursuing what you want to be happy and you're being healthy and you're not hurting other people and you're still nice and polite. Like that's the main thing. Just be polite. Just be nice. And I don't mean polite like eat shit for other people. I just mean be considerate. Don't be an asshole. Don't go through life swinging your elbows. Think about other people. And so when my son got his first one, and I knew he was getting it, and I asked him to see it, I did not do a good job of like, oh wow, cool. I kind of went, oh yeah, that's nice. And I was like, oh man, I did not. I fucking blew that one. I should, because honestly, I do feel like, I can say, like, if he wanted to get one on his face, I'd say, that might be limiting. But if he really wanted to do it, okay, you're. I mean, now too, you're an adult. Whatever you want to do.
You did a much better job than me.
Really? Did one of your girls get it?
Georgia.
How many girls you got?
I got two.
Okay.
Georgia. I wish I had three. Georgia went to college. We were on a FaceTime. She was at college and she was talking to Isla on FaceTime, and Isla leaked it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I thought they were joking with me because they knew I was very against it.
Yeah.
And it's a black hole sun on the center of her chest. And I did not handle it well. And I ended up going into my bedroom and not talking to anyone and melting down. And because I felt like...
You mean like crying or
no,
or
just
like raging?
Angry. And it took me a second. It took me a long second. And I just had this feeling that like I created that body. I should get a say in what that body does with that body.
Yeah.
In a weird fucking controlling. It's a lot like my father. You know, you don't realize how much you like your parents until you become a parent.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And when you see video of yourself and you're like, oh my God, I'm just like my fucking dad.
I would match. To this day, not to this day. I went through a lot of therapy to get to the place I'm at as a dad now.
Yeah.
And now for real, I'm so much better with exactly what you just said. It took me a while to get there.
Yeah.
If I want you to be happy, don't hurt other people.
Yeah.
As long as you're happy and thriving and living your favorite life you can live, then that's all that matters to me.
Yep.
And so much so that on Isla's 18th birthday, Georgia and her friend Daisy and Isla went and they got fucking stupid mustaches on their fingers. It's Isla's birthday and we're waiting for her. Her family's waiting for her and they're fucking late and they all turn off their notifications. And I'm like, where the fuck are you? Where the fuck are you? And then they come back and I go, you guys are late. And Isla and all three of them raise their fingers. They go, are we? And I went, oh my God. And I was so much cooler at that moment than I was to poor Georgia.
Right.
This show is sponsored by DraftKings. NFL Week 1 is here, and a new season means new ways to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Are you ready to place your first bet? Oh, get ready. Here's what you do. Try betting on something simple like pick a player to score a touchdown. This is what I love. I'm telling you right now. This makes football so much more fun. DraftKings makes life so much more fun, especially if you do what I do. I pick a player, right? Wide receiver. I'm not going to say names, but wide receiver, and I got a running back, and then I follow them on Instagram, and I watch their lives. I see what they're posting. I see what they're doing. I get involved. I get involved. I can tell you what these people's houses look like. I know what one of the dude's wife looked like. And I get involved, and it's so much fun. And then you're watching the game, and the camera cuts to his wife, and you're like, that's us, baby. We're ready to do a touchdown dance. Let's do it. Are you ready to do a touchdown dance of your own? Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the best place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Bertcast. That's code Bertcast for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus premium on us only at DraftKings. The crown is yours. Today's show is brought to you by Tushy, because it's time to give up on wiping with just toilet paper. We've stuck with toilet paper because it's familiar, but all it does is smear poop and bacteria all around, leaving you feeling unclean and uncomfortable. Washing with a Tushy bidet, you get a targeted stream of fresh water to get you twice as clean than wiping ever could. It is time to retire that outdated routine and upgrade to a fresh, confident, clean. Setup is super easy. And the results, brother, an absolute game changer. Once you've experienced a Tushy bidet, your butt will never settle for less. And this is what I love about Tushy. You can crank that puppy up and break the O-ring. I mean, it is a stream of water. It is an invigorating stream of water. Do you know how sometimes you get down there and you just wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe? Man, crank up Tushy, go to full blast, put it to 11. I'm hands-free. I've been hands-free for a long time. Feel shower fresh when you need it the most. And join the 2 million butts who've already switched to Tushy. For a limited time, our listeners can get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code Bertcast at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code Bertcast. My parenting move when I was younger was raise my voice until I see emotion come out of them.
Yep.
And then I know they heard me. And that's not the effective way to raise kids.
Yeah.
It's a fucking 1970s way to raise a child. Mm-hmm. And it took me a long time to get there.
I do feel like I always said, because I also too, I was spanked, and when with my son, I thought like, oh, that's something, that's a tool in your kit, because, and I was thinking about it is like, and I don't necessarily think that this is that true. It's like, they are like little animals, like they're not fully like, they don't have the full mental capacities of a human being.
Yeah.
I mean, they're little humans, but they are like animals. So they understand broad strokes. Yeah. So, for one reason or another, you might have to give them a swat on the butt to get a point across.
Yeah.
And I did a couple of times with my son, and it felt so fucking shitty. It felt so bad. And all I could feel was, this has nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
This has everything to do with me being impatient and me going like, we're back, we're like back and forth on something. He yes, me, yes, no. And I just want it over. So SWAT, and then it's over. And I just was like, I can't do that anymore, because it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's like, but I did have I did say beyond that, I would say I do believe in corporal punishment, but just on their eardrums.
Yeah.
But you do have to, when dad yells, it's scary. And I don't care how nice dad is, but it definitely, there is something to, and even now with the 4-year-old, I've never done anything that, I mean, if anything, she treats me like a fucking trampoline, literally jumps on top of me up and down, for an hour,
Yeah.
But it is I'm going to have daddy come in here, and it's okay. There's just something biological about it. But yeah, I mean, there have been times when I even as much as when my son started driving, there was some scary times. And then there was one time after 3 scary times where I was like, don't turn left in oncoming traffic, where he did something stupid. And I just fucking, I let him have it, because I was scared. Well, first of all, he scared me. It's when somebody scares you like you're going to die, you tend to react in a loud way.
And they're so confident because they're behind the wheel and they think, I got it.
I
Dad,
know.
if I heard the phrase, Dad, I got it.
Yeah,
one more time, Dad, I got it.
Yeah.
I go, one time I go, you don't have it.
Right.
You're taking, this fucking idiot took, we're going to Ralph's, right?
Yeah.
It's very simple. A right, and a right into Ralph's. That's it. A right, and a right. You never have to cross traffic.
Right.
This idiot takes a right, then an early right, and now has to take 3 lefts to get there. And I go, well, hold on. If you take all the way up to whatever, take a right there, then you just take a right. You never have to cross traffic. She goes, Dad, there's a lot of ways to get to Rome. And I went, yeah, there are. No, you're totally right. But if you decide to go east instead of west, one's longer than the other, and one's a lot more dangerous. If you want to pass through fucking the pass in South Africa, which or at the bottom of Argentina,
the Cape of Good Horn, or Good Hope,
it's terrifying. It's terrifying. You can definitely do that. Oh, and you'll get to Rome, or you can very easily leave from New York and just show up in Rome. You fucking idiot! Oh my God! And I got to a place where I was not allowed to drive with her. And to this day, when I drive to Georgia, I sometimes I'll put on sunglasses and close my eyes and just know we'll get there, because I'm such, and she was so woke. I would have to, when I drive, I stereotype the cars around me.
Mm-hmm.
So if I see a car with a broken rear view mirror, side mirror that's taped on, I assess that person.
Right.
And I know that person doesn't really pay attention.
Yeah.
They don't, it's on the other side. It's not where you park, it's on the other side.
Yeah.
So this person doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. If I see a minivan, a certain type of minivan, an Odyssey, a lot of times in our neighborhood, I'll say, listen, that's a Hasidic Jewish woman. Okay. And then I have an assessment about that.
Yes.
And so I'll break it down.
Yes. It's hard not to be a bigoted profiler on the road in Los Angeles.
If you see
it happens.
If you see a matte black tinted out window Mercedes AMG, you don't fuck with that car.
Right.
The person in that car is a dude who's got some fucking issues. And you don't fuck with that car, Georgia.
Yeah.
And she would be like, you're profiling people. And I'd be like, no, you need to. Like, listen, cut off the Subaru.
Right.
Cut off the Subaru with the I voted for Obama sticker. They're not going to fuck with you. They're good people. They're good people. But the guy with the Trump flag out of the back of his pickup truck in Orange County, you don't fuck with that guy. You don't fuck with that guy, George. And she would be like, Dad, people are people. And I'm like, no, I need to teach you how to assess. What the fuck?
Yeah, there's definitely, I am of two minds of yes, absolutely, Georgia, you're 100% right.
You're 100%
but then
right.
Also, I have been alive for 57 years.
Let's not.
And you start to notice patterns. you start to notice some things. And yeah, those aren't what you lead with. You just keep those quiet and keep them in your mind. And like to drive, to get around the old Korean lady. Yes. Just get around her. Yeah. And then get her behind you. And then you don't have to worry about her anymore.
I would say.
Write me letters. I'm sorry.
No,
I just threw that in there.
There's not one person listening to this going like, who's listening to this and disagreeing? A bunch of 18-year-old seniors in high school who drive like fucking lunatics.
Yeah.
I have assessments on people that drive Teslas.
Yeah.
I have.
Teslas are the new asshole car. They're the new BMWs.
Yes.
Yeah.
BMW used to be the Tesla.
They were the fucking pricks of the road. And also, you're going to give that motherfucker a dime?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that guy is now, he's bad now. You could say he was on the bubble before, but he's doing bad stuff now.
I'll tell you what, old Elon. I'm actually a fan of Elon's, but I don't know enough about him.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about him. I saw the interview he did with Don Lemon, which was pretty fucking, it was a cool interview to watch him get a little worked up. And know he's so smart that he's like, I know what you're trying to ask, and I'm going to answer it. The question you're trying to ask. He's really smart.
Yeah.
And I got to give praise to Elon in this. He did make conservation sexy. The idea that everyone would start buying.
Yes.
Okay. Here's my problem with Elon. He broke Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, for my lifetime, was a cool car dude.
Yeah.
A fucking badass Barracuda, a badass old school whale tail Porsche, a badass
internal combustion.
Yeah. Picked me up in a fucking Ram one time or some big truck that it was so badass. But then Joe Rogan in that badass car said, nothing's like a Tesla. And he goes, they're so fucking fast. And I was like, my dad all of a sudden started listening to Dawes. What the fuck? I can't have this. It broke my heart because they're fucking fast as shit. They're fast as shit. But I'm old school in that I want my car to bark. I want my car to moan. I want my car to stall. I want it to be difficult to drive for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't want it to go, welcome, Bert.
Yeah, my brother and I shared a 73 Buick Century that with the accelerator, it was like, if this is the floor and this is where it's sat, it was like, nothing, full on. So everybody that would drive it would be like, and the brakes were the same way. It'd be like, nothing, grab. So you really had to know how to drive that car. And that you don't encounter that much anymore. But I just, I'm kind of I've gone beyond. When I first got out here and started having cars, I was
What year was that?
Cars.
What year was that?
2000.
Really?
Right at 2000. Yeah, 2000, 2001. And when we got here, we got the Mercedes.
Because you guys were in New York.
We were in New York.
In 2000.
93 to 2000.
In 2000, you and Conan stayed at the Universal Sheridan.
Yes.
And I was at Universal Sheridan. I was doing a deal with Will Smith. And you guys walked in, and I want to say you guys were having cocktails. I don't know. But I remember a bunch of girls recognizing you guys. And I think you guys were either married or dating. And the girls tried to get in the elevator with you and Conan. And Conan goes, bye-bye, Goyles, and hit closed door. And I remember going, those dudes are cool as fucking shit. Bye-bye, Goyles. And I was at the bar, and the elevator was, you could see the elevator from the bar. And I was like, wow.
That might have been the time because, was it during the day or was it
It was at night.
It was at night. We might have been, I don't even know what this was. We had done a week of shows in the Tonight Show stage, where Leno did the Tonight Show. We came out here and we did a week of shows from there in his studio. And just, because we go on the road for a week. And then last night we had a party in the top of that hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Smashmouth had been on the show. And Conan was mad Conan was unhappy about something. But he might have just been, a lot of times it was something else, whether it was showbiz or personal or something. but I wasn't like, there were just periods where he was, and also this guy's been through 1,000,000 hours of therapy and medication and stuff, and is in such a better place than, and I could say that about me too. Like, there's a lot of times I look back on my life and I think about like something that happened, and I'm like, wow, that was really not pleasant. And I just kind of realized, yeah, because I was just miserable, like I just kind of in life at that point was miserable for one reason or another. But and my ex-wife and I went to the party, stayed for a minute, and then left. And apparently, like, he got in a fight with the lead singer of Smashmouth. Not like a fist fight, but I guess they were just being loud and boisterous, and he kicked him out. Like, Conan went over and said, "Get the fuck out of here." And he got in a fight with the lead singer. And I was like, oh, man, I wish I had been there for that one. But I don't know if it was that same night or not, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. I remember you guys were out doing shows.
Yeah,
and I remember it was like very fucking.
Yeah.
It was.
Anyway, cars-wise, having children spoiled me of cars. Now they're like, I just want something. I drive a Highlander hybrid because I still am not completely sold on electric, because what if there's an earthquake and the power grid goes down and you don't have anywhere to charge your car? And like, I still want to be able to rely on a gas motor. And I'm not even like a big, contingency fucking, apocalyptic thinker guy. Yeah. But I had an electric car, and right after I got it was when the power grid in Texas went down because it snowed.
Yes.
And I was like, oh yeah, that would suck, because like, like, what do you do? Where do you charge your car?
Yeah.
And my wife has an electric car. She's got like the first generation of those little BMW i3s.
Oh yeah.
That goes like 60 miles. And if you turn on the air conditioning, you can see that it goes, like, if it's 16, you turn on the air conditioning to like 2, it goes 43. Like, it just like jumps down.
You have to lower the volume to get to where you need to
it's
go.
like whenever, because if she has to go somewhere far, she takes my car. And then if I'm running around town and when it's hot, I'm just like, I'm playing this game of like, like turning the AC on and rolling the windows down, and then, like back and forth just to stretch it out so I don't end up fucking. And I never got stuck anywhere, but I to me, they're like functional now. And for me, the one that broke me was I had a Lexus SUV. I don't remember whatever, but
Rogan used to have one of those. It's such a sexy fucking car.
It was a great car.
Dane Cook had one of those. It's such a fucking sexy car.
Really like nice. There was so much fucking milk spilled into the console, like the big back console, that I had to dismantle it. My whole car smelled like baby puke, like, because it was like stored up milk that I would kind of drain and like, okay, I think we're fine. And 2 days later, get in and it was like, oh God, welcome to the Yakult factory. And and I had to dismantle it myself. But when it came off lease, I had to take that arm apart, and it was just fucking disgusting. And I was like, I think the next thing I got was like a Mazda, like a little Mazda minivan, because I was like, these kids are gonna fuck this thing up. There's no sense of getting a nice, and I still am kind of at that point with the 4-year-old even, and I do feel like, well, eventually I could see myself getting like a fun old car, like an old pickup truck, or or like a fun little like I love those old the precursors to the BMW 3, the 2002s and 2001s.
Oh yeah,
those little cute little sedans, like those things, or like even just like an old Miata, like an old shit kicker Miata.
Dude, Miatas were so fucking hot when they came out.
So fun to drive.
They were so fucking hot when they came out. People only see Miatas as what they are today.
Yeah, yeah.
And I will to this day, the first time I saw a Miata, I was like, that's a fucking badass car.
It's a sweet little roadster, and they're fun to drive. I've only driven them a couple times, but it's like a go-kart, Yeah. It doesn't go too fast, but then again, like, I don't need to, neither do I.
Yeah.
So,
I got into, I remember I was looking to get a car. It was right when I got I want to say it was the car.
Look, there we go. Yes.
Oh, that's a fucking
beautiful Miata.
There was a car, the Mazda RX-7.
Yeah.
Was a fucking great car too.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a great car. I tried to get my dad to get me one of those when I was a kid, and he was like, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, but I remember there was a period when the car I have right now, I think it's actually the car I have right now, I was debating what kind of car to get. I remember asking Bobcat what kind of car do you drive? Because Bobcat's such a unique guy.
Yeah.
And I remember the look in his eyes was like, oh, why did you have to ask me today? And I said, why? And he goes, I just got rid of, and he had like an old Impala with like an old school with convertible, all done out the way he wanted it. And it was like really cool, but it wasn't like pimped out. It was like restored. He loved it. And he had to get rid of it. And he goes, I got a Mercedes truck. And I went, really? And he goes, and I do not fit in that car. It's not my car.
Yeah.
And he's like, but I had to. The car was breaking down. But I always find it interesting to see what people drive. Like Zach Galifianakis. Like, what car do you think Zach drives?
Oh, Zach drives something like totally fucking.
He drives a Subaru. I guarantee you. That's from the Hangover.
Yeah. But it's just, he drives a Subaru. At least he did last time I saw him in a car. He came home one night from shooting baskets out in Bakersfield or wherever the fuck they were shooting, and he still had the clown makeup on, and the police were doing a search for somebody, and he got out of his car right as the Klieg light was hitting him, getting out of his car in front of his house, like the police helicopter searching for, like, there's that clown.
He looks great. I think he quit drinking.
He did.
He quit drinking for a while.
He lost a lot of weight. Yeah, he's pretty healthy now.
He was really fun to drink with, for the record.
He's just one of my favorite people in the whole world.
He's the sweetest guy.
He's just the best. Almost kind of sometimes you can't, like, because he can be mean, like Between Two Ferns was really mean. But it's so funny because there's not really much of that in him at all. And in fact, in real life, if you say something kind of mean and shitty, you can kind of tell, like, it disappoints him, or like he's like, oh, like, I can't go there with you. And I'm like, that's all I talk about is mean shit about people behind their back,
It's my favorite conversations. Nothing better than when someone's like, have you heard? And you're like, ooh.
Oh, I remember.
Let me get a drink and a Zin.
I remember the first time I ever met Dave Foley at Kids in the Hall. There were a bunch of kids in the hall. The guy, they were down here in the States in New York doing something. And I knew of him, and I was really thrilled to meet him. And there was it was like an SNL party or something. And I met him, and we were walking somewhere. And I knew, like, and Dave is still like a very good friend of mine, but I knew like we were going to hit it off fine, because within literally 2 minutes of meeting him, he was shit talking every other member of his group, like all of his best friends. He was telling me just had shit talked about everybody. And I was like, oh, like that whole, like Teddy Roosevelt's daughter, if you don't have something nice to say, come sit next to me. That's me too,
No summer's complete without a killer barbecue. Elevate your next cookout or get cooked whenever you want with Via. Unlock the power of nature this summer with Via's organic and vegan hemp extracts, perfect for relaxation and rejuvenation. Via is the only lifestyle hemp brand. They use compounds found in hemp along with the active plant extracts to create products, each with a specific effect in mind. Whether you want to get better sleep, ease anxiety, enhance your mood, or just get high, they've got something for you. They also have 0 THC products if THC isn't for you. You can still take advantage of their CBD line with products designed for sleep, focus, and energy that will keep you glowing all summer long. Their products range from 0 milligrams to 100 milligrams of THC. So these guys have you covered whether you're looking to microdose or enjoy the more potent effects. Here's the deal. I went online and checked, and I did all the research on them. It's really awesome. I've got the whole box right next to me. See if you can hear them. These are CBD, but they're really great, and I think that they've got even flour too. This place is awesome. If you're 21 and over, check out the link to Via in our description and use code Bertcast to receive 15% off. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them. Please show support to our show and tell them we sent you. Unleash the green and live the American dream with Via. This show is sponsored by True Classic, designed to accentuate your best features. True Classic shirts are tailored for a perfect fit, snug in the arms and in the chest with just the right amount of room in the midsection. True Classic sells premium products at an affordable price. You can get their best-selling t-shirts, hoodies, jeans, and more in 3, 6, and 9 packs. True Classic's activewear becomes essential for workouts and vacation alike because their activewear crew necks offer moisture-wicking, quick dry, and odor control. Pair them with their super soft, stretchy joggers for all-day comfort. It's all I wore in Hawaii. I'm telling you, all of their clothes can be mixed and matched and designed to work for your lifestyle so you can look your best and feel your best each and every day. True Classic is so committed to their products. They even have a 100% perfect fit guarantee and easy returns. Here's the deal. I threw that stuff on in Hawaii. I'd wake up at 7 a.m. I'd go to the gym. Dinner closed. Breakfast closed at 10. I'd meet the girls for breakfast, and I would wear that to breakfast, and it just looked like I got dressed for breakfast. They're freaking sharp. Right now, you can unlock big savings when you bundle items site-wide. Just go to my exclusive link at trueclassic.com/Bertcast to save. That's trueclassic.com/Bertcast and discover the perfect blend of summer vibes and timeless elegance with True Classic. Shop now and elevate your wardrobe today. What was it like you're in New York, you're 26, you're on TV, and this is, once again, I don't think people remember. This is when late night ruled the roost.
It was important.
It was like,
yeah.
And by the way, Conan, out of all the shows, was the most irreverent, the loosest. I mean, Letterman's Letterman.
Yes,
Letterman's always been
absolutely,
Letterman.
Absolutely.
And I would say that your lead-in was Leno.
Yeah.
And Leno was a little more corporate, a little safer, little like, it was fun. It was fun.
I mean, it wasn't exciting.
No, yeah.
I mean, it's certainly nobody that I knew was like excited by the Leno show. Lots of people really enjoyed the Leno show, and the Leno show did the job. It did the job for years and years.
Yeah.
And it was a good place, for Hugh Grant to talk about, the transvestite prostitute
what were you thinking?
Yeah. It was good for that. And, and like I say, it did the job. But we really wanted, just high standards. Again, it was like, it had to be, and that was from day one. That's Conan's real strength, is that he's just, first of all, one of the funniest people on earth.
Yeah.
Like one of the biggest brains, comedy-wise and otherwise in the world, and incredibly high standards. Stephen Colbert told a story about he was on our show and we were rehearsing a bit that he was going to be in. So it was during rehearsal, and he was sitting at the guest spot, and Conan's at the desk, and a writer comes up with like a rewrite of something that Conan looks at and apparently isn't happy with, and he said, well, if it isn't the good enough gang. Like, and it's like, it's a joke, and it was a bit, it's like, that was a bit like, Conan had a bit that was kind of a Mr. Burns, like, I'm a genius surrounded by idiots. Like, that was a constant bit. But it was like, there was he meant it. He meant it he meant like, this isn't good enough. Like, you got to go back and try again. And he definitely, when something was good, like, he wasn't like totally a bad dad, but he needed it to be good. He needed that show to be really, really funny, because it was his name on it and stuff.
Yeah.
And also, and like in the early days, he was a nervous fucking wreck. He really jumped into a boiling cauldron of attention, Oh,
and he didn't look like what you expected him to look like. He was 6'7", red hair.
Honestly, in retrospect, it's crazy. It's crazy that he got the job.
I almost want to deep dive how he got the job and who he was up against.
I'll tell you how he got the job was, long and short of it, without other people that they had that they wanted to do it, either wouldn't do it or they shit the bed in their tryouts to do it. And Lorne over the years has gone up and down in terms of their favor. And at that point, he was very much in their favor. Like, SNL was doing very well. Yeah. It was a very popular time for SNL. And Lorne had been assigned the job to find Letterman's replacement. And for who knows why, Lorne said, I want Conan to do it. And I think he had originally, and I'm not exactly sure, I'm piecing this together, because it's not like I ever said, hey, Conan, how'd you get this job? Yeah. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I'm not exactly sure the first time my parents met either. It's like stuff that I'm like, I don't need to know that, you know? But I think Lorne had originally wanted Conan to run the show. And I think Conan said, no, let me host it. Let me do it. Because he just had this drive that he wanted to. He's told me that he knew early on that like he was not an actor. He didn't feel like he was good at being an actor. He didn't really feel like stand-up would be the thing for him. He did lots of kind of emceeing of shows in college, and he felt like, okay, this is something in the ballpark of what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then I think he just eventually was like, I think being a late night talk show host would be what I'm suited for. So when this opportunity arose, I think he just forced it and just was like, I don't want to run the show. I want to be the host of the show. And Lorne said, okay, you know, I mean, Lorne Michaels, you know, Tim Meadows is a very dear friend of mine. And like Tim has told me, you know, like people all do Lorne impressions and, you know, and there's, you know, and Lorne's this sort of, you know, when you're an institution like that, you know, people poke fun at you and stuff. But like, you know, Tim has told me, he's like, who else has given amazingly talented people the opportunity to shine as much as Lorne Michaels has in comedy terms? Yeah. And it's like, I can't think of anybody else. Like, it's like, you know, he's in terms of like Quincy Jones has given us a lot of amazing music that he, you know, by fostering other people, but Lorne's done that like with the numbers are just like 10 times as much. Yeah.
Astronomical.
You know,
I mean, think about, in all honesty, I mean, I don't think I've ever looked at it this way because everyone always goes through their ups and downs with SNL. It's like, oh, this cast sucks. This cast's good.
Yep.
They always say.
And the show does that. You can watch the show and be like, wow, that was hilarious. This is awful.
Yeah.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Ugh, you know, you can go from sketch to sketch.
And that's because it's week and week and
that's
it's live.
The nature of it.
Yeah.
It can reinvent itself but after every commercial break.
What was it? Who had the line? I think it was like maybe Sandler or Spade or like someone said that Lorne told them they hate you when you're on. When you're off, that you're the best cast it's ever been.
Yeah.
And it's so true. It's like, I mean, I remember we didn't really watch much of Sandler on SNL.
Yeah.
And like weren't astounded by Sandler's talent on SNL.
Yeah.
But then when he started playing the guitar.
Yeah.
And then immediately left.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden we're like Sandler's a goat.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the Hanukkah song came out. I remember I was in college. We were listening to the Hanukkah song. Happy Gilmore came out. Billy Madison came out. And like all these, and then all of a sudden you're like, dude, when Sandler was on SNL, none of us watched it then.
Yep.
None of us watched, in all honesty, none of us watched when Farley was on.
Yeah.
But then fucking Tommy Boy came out and we were like, Farley's the fucking GOAT.
Yeah.
And then you look back and you're like, he was the GOAT. But when it's going on, you're like, I'm in college. None of this, it's not important to me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden.
In college, you're not at 11:30 on Saturday night, you're not in your dorm room with the TV on.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be.
You
shouldn't be, kids.
I did not watch one TV show in college regularly at all. Well, no, I take that back. The Simpsons was on at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And so we would always pre-party and watch The Simpsons, get fried chicken,
get
high and watch The Simpsons, always. And then we watched Clueless maybe 2,000 times. Clueless was always, we had a box that we had stolen. Yeah. And so we could watch UFC fights and Clueless.
Yeah.
And
I don't have a big recollection of watching TV in college.
No.
Either, except for because at the time it was really weird. All My Children, the soap opera, was very popular with everybody for a little while. And I started watching it because when my younger brother and sister were born, they're 9 years younger than me, my great aunt came over and she watched all her programs. She watched all the ABC soaps every day. And to her, they were one continuous. She get the plot lines mixed up. But so I started watching them, and it did become this habit. And then when I was in college at that time, I think it was noon, it was on, the lounge would just be filled with people coming in to watch All My Children.
I have to say, that was the peak All My Children.
Yeah.
That's when Patch, right? That was Patch. That's Days of Our Lives?
That was,
So I watched Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
In high school, when I was a freshman in high school, we watched Days of Our Lives every summer. Every summer we watched Days of Our Lives.
It's like there was something in those days about soap operas.
Is that guy still alive? Patch?
Oh,
what's his name? Will you find out who he was? I'm fucking fascinated. I was obsessed with this guy. He had the most beautiful hair.
Nico or something, like a dark complected guy, like kind of.
No. He had blonde hair. He looked like.
I don't know who Patch is.
He looked kind of like Don
Johnson.
Steve Johnson. Look at him.
Are you alive, Steve Johnson?
Please.
Stephen Nichols.
See, Steve Johnson was his name on Days of Our Lives.
No, he's still alive.
How old is he? It's got to be 1951.
49 plus 24. What is that?
If he's 51, he's got to be 60. He's 71.
71.
Well, I guess because I'm 72 and I'm 51.
Wait, 49. Yeah. 73.
73.
I bet that picture's old.
Wait, does he really? Oh, he does have an eye. Okay, good. I always wondered if that was.
I just saw. After 3 years of deep meditation, celibacy, and a steady diet of the films of Truffaut, Bergman, and Cassavetes, Nichols realized being a monk was not his path. Did not expect that.
Where does he live now? I would love to get him on the fucking podcast. He looks fucking. Oh, he's still got his full head of hair. Look at him. He's moving around great. Patch and Kayla. That's Kayla? That's fucking Kayla? No way. God,
wow.
He's got to dye his beard.
Well, yeah.
He looks so.
His face looks a little fillered too.
Have you ever thought about doing any cosmetic surgery?
I would not turn down somebody sucking the fat out of my tits.
Oh.
That I wouldn't turn down. Or this too. As I've gotten older, this is like when COVID, like I had lost a bunch of weight, and then COVID came, and I was like, oh, nutritional rules have been suspended, and fucking like just loaded on 30 pounds, just being lazy and whatever. So yeah, no, and I haven't really kind of like I've lost some weight from them, but honestly, there's kind of. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a blind spot for me. Like, there's all kinds of stuff in my life where I understand cause and effect, and I'm like, well, if I don't like this effect, I should change this cause. Whereas, like, I just think somewhere in my mind, I'm still like a little kid, like thinking, like, well, someday magically, I'm gonna get skinny and be healthier and have less aches and pains. Like that's one area where I'm not like, I don't. I could do much better.
My vices are my problem. Like, and it's so funny. I can get control of my vices.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking the other day, like one of my favorite thing in the world, a Whopper with cheese.
Yeah.
A double Whopper with cheese, actually. It's like my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, I just drove by Burger King and I thought, I haven't gotten a double. I couldn't tell you the last time I got a double Whopper and cheese.
Yeah.
I might actually argue it's been 10 years.
Wow.
And I don't think about it, but if I see it, I go, oh, I love that burger. And I said, I want everything in my life that I love to turn into the double Whopper with cheese.
Yeah.
Like I wish alcohol was the double Whopper and cheese. But like for me, alcohol, I do so good for so long. And then all I need is a reason not to do good. And I just go like.
Is it like an outside stressor kind of thing? Or is it just you're on vacation and.
It's not having rules for myself. And so I live
I
have a weird life where there are no rules. For zero rules.
Right.
And no one's going to stop me. And like, no one's allowed to stop me.
Right.
My wife would always be the voice of reason, but like we were doing a bottle signing, me and Tommy, for our vodka at Costco.
Yeah.
And we get out, I work out great that morning. I have a great workout. I think I did a podcast or something. Me and Tommy did a podcast here.
Yeah.
We have a great fucking morning. We go to Costco. It's 1 PM to sign bottles. And they're like, can I get you a drink? And I go, yeah. And then I go, well, hold on. In my head, I'm like, I definitely want to drink because I don't like signing shit.
Yeah,
And that would make this go by better. That's a cool cheat code to life is when you don't like something, if you drink, it makes it so much better.
Sure.
And then I go, but if I drink now, then I'm going to be drinking from now until our party tonight. And then I'll drink all the way. And then I'm going to feel really bad tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's trying to put rules on my life where I go, I can't let myself do that. And if I am going to let myself do that, I got to make sure I'm taken care of, like, and alcohol and weed has crept into my life in a fucking crazy way that I never saw it happening.
Yeah.
Like I smoke weed probably every day.
Yeah.
And I honestly, and I don't even get that high, but I get just to take the edge off. And then Zins crept into my life, and it's like,
what's Zins?
Oh, don't. Never mind. Pretend I never brought it up.
All right.
It's maybe like
I saw them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the fucking greatest thing in the world. It's nicotine. It's just nicotine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the little pouchy things.
Oh, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Your son probably doesn't. And so
he might.
Does he vape?
He certainly knows it. He used to, but he stopped.
Yeah, my daughter used to vape, and I just made her start smoking cigarettes.
Oh, really?
I go, we already know the math on this. You get cancer. Let's just get you cancer. God forbid, we don't know what happens with this. This is fucking big pharma. Like this shit's bad for you. And they started smoking cigarettes.
Is she still smoking cigarettes?
No, she doesn't smoke anymore. She's like, it's disgusting to smoke
cigarettes. It's too much. It's gross.
Yeah. And so you're like, yeah. But these got introduced to my life. And so like those three things for me, it's funny. I'm so much healthier on tour. I'm so much, because I have rules on tour.
Yeah.
I get up at a certain hour. I work, we do an activity, we have lunch, I take a nap, I work out, and I would never have my first drink would never be until 11 o'clock at night. And a lot of times at 11 o'clock at night, you're like, well, the night's already over. Let's go to bed.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy that is how I can work the road. But in real life, like if you would come in, and this is the wild part about me, I also don't like to let people down. So if you would come in and you're like, I would love a whiskey, I go, let's drink whiskey.
Yeah.
And I don't think about me in that situation.
Right.
Like a lot of people would just go, actually, I'm not drinking today.
Yeah, I'll get you one, but I won't have one for myself.
I would never say that. I would never. I'm hoping that I have a podcast later, and I'm really genuinely hoping they're sober, because I don't want to drink. I actually don't want to drink today.
Yeah,
I feel great. I haven't drank in a couple days. I feel great.
Yeah.
But I'm not, and sometimes and even if my wife, like tonight, if we went home and she goes, I wouldn't mind a specialty cocktail and getting in the hot tub, and I do not want to drink, I immediately go, let's have a specialty cocktail and get in the hot tub. And so that's my thing. Food, I've gotten in control of food, and I don't know how it happens.
Skinnier than you normally are. I mean,
thank you. That's the best compliment.
Yeah. No, I mean, then when I haven't seen you in a while, but you seem skinnier.
I'm down. I weighed myself today. And I'm 232.
Yeah.
Which is acceptable for me. And I was 285 was my biggest.
Yeah.
And so 232 is good. I feel like my trainer was like, what are your goals? And I was like, I don't really have any goals. I just want to be able to get off the couch.
Right.
It's like the roughest thing is when you're a big guy, you get into the corner of a couch and you're like, all right. And I want to tie my shoes. Like tying my shoes was really cool. When I started tying shoes again, I was like, I love it.
And then you combine it too with getting older and just getting naturally stiffer. And like, I for years worked out with a trainer, and now, and I don't like exercise.
No,
I don't like cardio. I actually did a live version of my podcast once at Cobb's in San Francisco with Rachel Dratch. And we did like a Q&A at the end. And somebody was like, what would you guys tell your younger self? And I was not kidding. I was like, learn to love cardio. Just whatever you just force it, like as a young person, because I fucking hate it. And I don't really, and I like I said before, I like playing tennis. I like playing basketball. I like, riding a bike. I like going on walks, but just exercise, I don't. And as I gotten older and grumpier, I'm just like, I don't want to fucking do it.
Well, it's such a shallow, I mean, I mean this, and I understand that I'm saying as a guy in it, I've been working out almost every day since about 2020s.
Yeah.
So like, what year are we in? For like 4 years. For real, I've been working out just about. There was a period where I hurt my arm or I didn't work out and I gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, let's just say to be safe, for 2 years I've been working out every day. And I work out hard every day. I don't.
For how long?
An hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And I have a trainer come to my house.
Yeah.
I've always had a trainer. It's the only way I'm going to work out.
I was the same way.
Someone shows up at my house.
I took him off the clock and during COVID because I just couldn't afford it,
Yeah. And I used to get on the treadmill. I loved getting on a treadmill and just walking and watching TV.
Yeah.
And just being like, I'm going to walk 5 miles.
Right.
It's the end of the day.
That's all you got to do.
Girls are watching TV. Leanne's on the couch. I'm going to get on the treadmill. I'm going to walk.
Yeah.
And today, I actually wondered. I was like, how long will I be doing this? Because I don't not enjoy it, but I absolutely hate when it starts.
Yeah.
I hate the first exercise because I go, fuck, I just started. Once it gets to the middle of the workout and I'm halfway through it, I start to enjoy it. But even the last round today, I was like, fuck, I was like trying to figure a way to cheat code it. And then I was like, I heard a rumor that Steve Carell likes to play tennis.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so cool. Like, that's a great way to stay in shape, but to enjoy it, to look forward to it. I went to do a golf club fitting yesterday, and I saw a bunch of older dudes out there hitting golf balls, and I broke a sweat hitting golf balls. And I went, God damn it. Like, I'm just doing like, because there is and I mean this with love, but there is a shallowness in like lifting weights.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a weird, like, what am I doing? You can't see the difference in my body.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Well,
I had a trainer for years, and I mean, he's a friend of mine now, but I couldn't do it anymore. And then I just kind of got off the habit of it. And now my plan is like, and it's there. It's just there for me to start doing.
Yeah.
Like, there's a yoga sort of plan and I just like, that's all I want. And that's when I would work out with my trainer, like, I had a trainer who didn't yell at me. Because if you yell at me, fuck you. I'm out of here. I don't pay you to yell at me.
You better be a therapist too.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're bringing up trauma. You're not my fucking dad. What?
Yeah.
Did I say that?
Yeah. Come on, do it. Fuck you. I'm not here to be yelled at. So, and I also just like, it's like I have this. It's like people who talk mean to you. You don't want to do anything for them.
Yeah.
But if they talk nice to you, yeah, sure, I'll bend over backwards for you.
I had a trainer who would say the coolest stuff. Oh, I can see striations in your legs.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, nice. And
yeah.
What did my trainer say to me the other day that was so fucking cool? I love great trainers.
Yeah.
Do you remember Bob from The Biggest Loser?
No, I don't.
Bob, The Biggest Loser was like the most popular show on
right.
fucking ABC, I think. And Bob Harper was his name. God, that's what he looks like.
Yeah. That's it. And then he died after a heart attack or something.
No, he had a heart attack and he was in great shape.
Oh, and now okay.
He's one of those guys that was in great shape, probably didn't think he needed to go to the doctor.
Right.
And then he had just had blockage. You can
right, of course. Yep.
And he one time I was in a spin class. I used to enjoy spin classes.
Yeah.
And he said, it was like Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And he said, all right, we're gonna get out of the saddle for the next 5 minutes, we're gonna sprint. And I was like, I don't want to fucking do that. And so I got out of the saddle and then I sat back down thinking, I'm in the back, he'll never see me. And he goes, get out of the fucking saddle right now. You're going home for Thanksgiving, aren't you? Don't you want everyone that didn't want to fuck you in high school to look at you and look how good you look and wish they had fucked you in high school? And I went, that's exactly what I want. That's everything I've ever wanted. And I was like, this is the best inspiration ever. And I got out of the fucking saddle and I sprinted for 5 fucking minutes. I'm not.
See that I would have unclipped and got the fuck out.
You know what
of
Bob
there.
Harper used to do?
Fuck you.
You know what Bob Harper used to do? He used to take your saddle off the fucking bike, so it was just a pole. And he's like, good luck, bitch. He was a bad motherfucker. He was a bad motherfucker. But but like a good trainer is so, and there's a difference between being great in shape and being a great trainer. Rogan, oddly enough, is a great workout partner and a brilliant trainer.
Oh, really?
He's very, like, he says cool shit to you. Like, dude, you're strong as fuck. And you're not compared to him.
Right, no, that's all you got to do.
Yeah.
It's like simple encouragement. And even if even if there's a shred of doubt in your head, it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Just,
It's funny. I do enjoy, now how I say that, I love the post-workout. I love getting done the workout.
Yeah.
I do love getting stronger. Like, I do love, like, there was a period where I was trying to increase my bench press and I got to like 285, I think.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, God, I'm getting strong. Like, it feels good. And having command of your body, as someone who did not have command of his body for a very long time.
My body and I are sort of like roommates that aren't really into each other, like whatever. Actually, that's an old Garofalo bit. She's like, you
That's
know,
a great.
except I think
As soon as you said it, I went, "That's a brilliant fucking bit."
Hers, I think, was her vagina. She's like, she does what I think she said he does what he wants. I do what I want. We don't talk a lot, you know.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Kids are always learning and growing, but as adults, sometimes we lose that curiosity. What's something you'd like to learn? Think about it for a second. Gardening, a new language, maybe how to beat your friend in tennis. I destroyed Tommy in tennis. Therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder because your back to school era can come at any age. I'm going to tell you a quick story, and it's about me and Leanne. I was a little lost, and I didn't have anything to work for. I didn't have any reason to root for myself. And I said to my therapist, I need to get into something. And we talked about it in therapy. We ad nauseum about the things. Tell me about your Instagram feed. What do you and I said I watch a lot of pro surfing. He said you should try surfing. And I said no, I'm too old. I'm too fat. I can't get up on the board. And so I worked really hard to learn how to surf. That was probably 2 years ago that I did that. And I started surfing. And I took Leanne and the girls to Hawaii to go surfing. Leanne turned 54, and she went out surfing. And I watched her come alive, not just in her eyes and her body and her emoting. But on the beach, when we got done, she was so proud of herself. I'm telling you right now, you can find that in yourself, but sometimes you need someone to work through those thoughts with. And if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Bert today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Bert. Just out of curiosity, this is always a weird question to ask people, but like, who do you text with mostly? Like, if you looked at your phone right now, like, who do you still text with Conan?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But it's like, I send him memes and I send him, you know, I just sent him a video because there was somebody on Instagram, you know how like there's some Instagrams that are like historians, you know, they just do like little sort of 4-minute documentaries about things. There's some guy, I feel like you do.
Did we send the same text today? I go ahead, keep going.
It was this one about this guy who was an American pop star who, he was an American and he had one kind of iffy-ish hit and then started to get really big overseas and then got big in Russia and became like a communist and became a huge star in Russia. I'd have to look up his name. And he had the whole thing starts with a documentary filmmaker is in Russia being taken around and they are in Red Square and there's a guy getting mobbed and the American filmmaker goes, "Who is that?" And the guy's like, "What do you mean you don't know who that is? That's the most famous American in the world."
Yeah.
And it was this guy, kind of John Davidson looking guy that was like a communist pop star.
It's like
know?
Steven Seagal before Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
Who do you still talk to Keckner?
Yeah, not too often.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't talk to anybody.
Really?
Very much.
We got a 4-year-old.
I got a 4-year-old.
You're in the zone defense.
I also just like, I'm just like, I honestly, my sort of male guy friend hanging out used to be more when I was playing golf. And I just don't play golf very much anymore, you know? Yeah. And I think, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like guys in their 50s that aren't, well, I think, you know, friends of mine that still go and do a lot of live shows. I think they get that kind of outside social bump from that.
Yeah.
But I for years I would go to work with the funniest people on earth. And I go home and I'd be like, what do I want to go out and hang out? I was laughing all day, you know. But I am kind of like, I'm a little bit of a homebody, you know.
Drink?
Yeah, I do, but I mean not a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Drinking is not the weed is my problem.
For real?
Yeah. It's drinking. I've been through periods of my life where it's like, especially like in Chicago,
Oh,
I'd be in a bar like 40 days in a row,
Yeah.
just because that's what life was. But I didn't, it's like I never, ever have felt like, oh, I got a problem with booze, I can take it or leave it. And and I still like have a glass of whiskey or a glass of vodka at home, but never thought it was a problem. Whereas weed speaks to me because and especially because like I've had depressive issues my whole fucking life. It's like a toggle switch. I'll be kind of like feeling just like blah, like fucking light. It's like I say, like my joke for why I don't want to exercise or, like why I don't particularly, like I'm not like a health freak is because the promise is you'll live longer. And I'm like, oh, you mean I get more of this? Oh, wow. Great. Thanks. It's like, oh, more fucking, like,
yeah.
More gray paste. Thanks a lot.
Weed does take over.
But weed is
it.
like click. I'm happy. I'm chatty, and I
appreciate my trees.
Yeah. I'm like, I enjoy everything so much more. But then, and there certainly was a time when I was younger where I was self-medicating with it, where I couldn't afford therapy and I couldn't afford antidepressants. So weed would be the antidepressant, but the problem is it's a diminishing return. And if you get high every day for 2 months and then you don't get high, like it goes from I'm sad, if I get high, I feel better to when I'm not high, I don't feel good at all,
Yeah.
And then it just like in an adult life too, and being out here and having it become first medically available and then legal, it's too available. And there's a number of reasons. Main one being mood stability. I'm on fucking drugs literally for years to stabilize my mood. And then I dump a box of marbles on the floor, by getting high. It's like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
And then the second one is I don't get shit done. I don't get shit done when I'm high. And number 3, I eat like a fucking horse after 9 o'clock at night. I'm just like shoving shit in my mouth for some kind of rush. And I'm not hungry. I don't.
Oh.
And if I don't get high, I don't do that.
It's amazing how weed will actually. I'm like you. And despite what everyone may think, alcohol's never been my problem.
Yeah.
Food's always been my problem.
Yeah.
I cannot say no to food.
Me too.
I've caught myself out of control. Where I say I'm going to bed, and then I go, I got one piece of pizza. I've had a drink, one piece of pizza.
Yeah.
And the next, I've eaten the whole pizza.
Yeah.
And I've watched my eyes click back like a shark.
Yeah.
Where I go, I'm not done. I'm gonna fuck it all up.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a period when I would order 2 entrees at every dinner, and I'll order the healthy thing and the thing I want. And all I'll do is eat the healthy thing right away.
And a couple nibbles.
Yeah, to treat myself.
Yeah,
Everyone wants a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, fucking cheeseburger's gone, fries are gone, fucking 4 apps, and I've eaten everything, and I'm drinking. And food has always been my problem.
Yeah.
Without a fucking doubt. And I went carnivore, and I kind of got in control of food. Carnivore made me less impulsive with food because I had strict rules. I'm good at following rules. And then
is it just meat? Like, can you have vegetables?
I eat avocados like crazy. I eat like an avocado every day.
Your blood's okay?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
My blood. Well, I'm also on
statin.
I'm on a statin.
Yeah.
And so I take cholesterol medicine. And so, but my last blood work, my cholesterol was better than it's ever been.
Oh, wow.
And I was eating just meat. And I've cheated a lot lately, like the last probably 4 months, maybe less than that, maybe 3 months I've cheated, and I've allowed certain things I would never allow. Like last night, we'd gotten these burgers at a show that we had done, and there was and I heated it up, take the bun off, so I eat the meat, and there was still a little bit of bun left on the top and on the bottom, and this is my sincere problem. If I was in Eaters Anonymous, I'd have to say this out loud. I pretended not to see it. I pretended. It was just me in the room.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even see that. And I was like, a little bun can't hurt anybody. And it fucking added so much to the goddamn burger. And then I cover it in mayonnaise. I cover it in ketchup. And I go, but ketchup doesn't have that much sugar. It's like having a soda.
Right. Exactly.
And so like I've been bad with it, but my weight's maintained. But yeah, carnivore kind of helped me.
But do you get fiber in any way, or
how
how are your bowel movements?
Explosive, very explosive. Like,
but I mean, like satisfying, or is it?
I like diarrhea.
Oh,
I push when I shit, so I like to wait for it. My farts are not satisfying.
I bet,
because all my farts are a roll of the dice, and so all my farts, I kind of got to go.
Yeah, because my wife is a vegetarian. So
I'd love to be one of those.
I eat mostly vegetarian now, and I swear my shit smells less. It
Really?
stinks less. Yeah. I mean, not that any one person is the best judge of their own shit smell.
Yeah.
But I definitely, like, there's times when I take a dump and I'm like, I don't even really, like, I'm not even aware of, like, and believe me, I can be aware of, like, oh, that's bad. Like, and feel, like at a restaurant, that feeling of like when you get out and then like, especially if there's like a woman, for some reason, if it's a man, I'm like, fuck you. But if it's a woman, I'm like, oh my God. I will never forget walking into, well, first of all, like Starbucks in the morning is always horrific because coffee is just like the shit button,
Yes.
And I went in once and the fucking, I went, yeah, no shit. I went in and there was a big muscle guy came out of the bathroom. I went in and I couldn't even like I had to go away and get my coffee and just hold it because it was like, it smelled like some kind of horrible death, and I was just like, what the fuck is that? It's like, and then I think I talked to my trainer, but it's like, yeah, it's some kind. It's like the shit that weightlifter, like protein pastes or whatever.
Protein fucks your shit up.
Yeah.
It's a great fucking conversation.
Anyway, I'm glad we got to the shit smells.
So what, like, I always wonder, like, there's so much stuff about you that are like secrets that I know that I go, I loved, you used to live on Highland.
Yeah.
And I used to drive.
How'd you know that?
Because you were very sweet whenever you were getting out, take your kids to school or whatever, I'd always honk and you just wave like, hey. Our daughters were at school over on 3rd Street. And so
at 3rd Street in Elementary?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so every day we'd take our kids to school, and on our way back, you were taking your kids to school.
Yeah.
And I drove past that house maybe 1,000 times.
Wow.
And I saw you possibly 150 times.
Yeah.
And I honked 150 times. And every time you were always like, hey. And I was like, oh, I want to be that kind of celebrity where like everyone's a friend.
Why not?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And
the only thing I do is if somebody yells my name, I don't look, because I feel like, because there's a lot of times where it's just, they're just curious.
Yeah.
And then it's like, hey.
Yeah.
And then and then you turn and then it's like, there's nothing. They're just like, oh, I was right. You just feel like like somebody like poked you with a stick, you know?
It's funny. I walk from my house here every day.
Yeah.
I try to, but a lot lately.
How far? How long
it's
is
a mile.
it? Yeah. That's not bad. Yeah, that's nice.
And so, and people will do a U-turn and pull over and come up to me and talk to me.
Yeah.
And take out and get out and get pictures. And then inevitably they go, do you live around here? And you're always like, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
this is bad. I got to walk with a mask. Today, my mailman, I got into a conversation with him. He's like, what's up, Bert? I was like, hey, what's up? He's like, I've been reading your name on the mail every day. I was always like, oh shit, it's so good to see you, man. And I was like, oh, it's good seeing you. And I was like, these guys are safe, right?
I don't know. You never know.
Yeah, you never fucking know.
I mean, in my neighborhood in Pasadena, I got dogs that I walk. So I see people all the time and they'll clock me in. And then also too, like people see me coming and going out of the house with the dogs. And I'm just like, oh, what can I,
what can you do?
What can I do? And I'm not, I mean, my level of fame.
You were on television for what, 30 fucking years?
Something like that. Yeah. My level of fame is very comfortable. It's very easy.
It's approachable.
And
you're the guy. I mean, even like, I think we've maybe met like twice or 3 times.
Yeah.
But as you walked in, I was like, hey, what's up, Andy? Like, it's you just have that. Keckner's got the same thing. is
Yeah.
like, I mean,
It's Midwestern. It's a very Midwestern
It's
thing.
approachable. I feel like if I see Paul Rudd, I'm going to be like, what's up, Paul?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like there's a fucking approachability to that person.
Yeah, and like people are going to do that with you too, because that's you have a warm, personable, like Bert will be okay with it, which like sometimes, sometimes it's a bit much, like, and it doesn't happen so much anymore, but like there used to be times, especially like when I was on the Conan show and we were, in the late night show in the 90s.
Yeah.
And that's when, like we were big with college kids and a bar where there'd be like more younger people. Numerous times somebody would come over and I'm there with people and they just like put a hand on my shoulder and be like, come over here and have a drink with my friends. And I'd be like, well, I'm here with my friends. And they're like, a couple of things, like people getting really fucking pissed. It's like, yeah, but there's no remote to control me here. Like you can't like, mute me or turn. It's like, no, I'm a human being here with my friends. And
I stepped out of a bar Saturday night. Joe's special streamed live on Netflix. And he's one of my best friends. And so I step out of the bar. I'm going to watch his special. I step out of the bar. It was a restaurant. I step out of the restaurant. I go into the street. I go over to the corner, kind of like, and I start watching his special, all the things, and I'm cheering for it. Like I loved the set, I loved the theater, I loved what he was wearing, I loved the shoes, I liked I'm like the little things that I look at for in a special. I loved his opening joke, and I'm like cheering for him, and I'm talking to myself a little out loud, and I got a buzz. And this dude comes over and he goes, Bert, what's up? And I was like, how you doing, man? And he goes, what are you doing? I saw him just watching Joe's special. And he's like, oh shit, that's tonight? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, cool, can I watch it with you? And I went, absolutely not. And he was like, what? And I was like, no. I said, I'm watching it. Like, go get your phone out and watch it.
Right.
And he was like, oh, so it's like that? And I was like, yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm having a moment. I'm having a moment watching my buddy's special.
I
want to. You're kind of interrupting me. I'm watching my buddy's special. Like, what the fuck? Like, you put it on your own phone. Get him the fucking numbers. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And then the guy was like, okay, man, I thought you'd be cooler. And I was like, I am. I'm really cool. But it's like I'm having a fucking moment. It's the only person I've ever said, like, you can't, like, I always won't let people buy me shots. I don't like, there's certain, like, my boundaries are weird. If I'm with my kids, I always say hi, but like, if they want to get a picture with my kids, which they want to a lot, I always say no. If they want my kids, I've watched people say, hey, to my daughter, will you take a picture of me and your dad? And my daughter goes, go fuck yourself. And they're like, what? She's like, no, I'm not taking your picture. They just walk away.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I had to learn, because it's not easy for me to be mean or to play the heavy.
It's not my go-to emotion.
It's difficult for me because it just feels like so much more energy than just, and people in my life, I've often had to say, like, no, it's fine. Let me handle it. I will get out of this.
It's my wife.
Yeah.
My wife will be like, excuse me.
Yeah.
He's like, my wife, and I go, babe, don't do that. It's so much easier for me to just be like,
let me just give me another, when you're done, you give me another minute, I'll settle it and everyone will be happy. Yeah. Like I'll get away. I'll find a way to get away, but and to extricate myself. Cause there are, there's people that won't let you go, you know, and it's flattering and everything. And I understand it's nice and they're excited, but it is like, yeah, but I mean, I don't want to do an interview right now. I'm at the grocery store or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always have to kind of extricate myself nicely because I don't, like I say, just the energy that it takes to be a dick.
It's not worth it.
Too much.
I've watched Tommy do it a million times. Where you're like, we were eating lunch one time, me and Tom, and this guy sitting at the table next to us.
You mean Segura, right?
Segura, yeah. And this guy goes, holy shit, Tom and Bert having lunch together. He's like, that's crazy. You guys are legit fucking friends. Holy shit, man. Hey, can I? And Tom goes, hey, man, we're having fucking lunch. And the guy's like, whoa. And he's like, yeah, we're friends. And we're having lunch. And you're kind of interrupting us. And I was like, hey, man, did you want a picture or something? Tom's like, don't give him I think I'm to a fault. I'm to a fault. Yeah. So wait, so your podcast is 3 questions.
3 questions. But I also have a new Sirius XM. Team Coco, Conan's podcast company, was bought by Sirius XM. Ooh. And Conan's got his own channel 104. And they wanted more radio programming because it was just podcasts on the radio. And they think they want to kind of also have some radio stuff. So I'm doing a call-in show that's just basically an hour of me and a guest host fielding calls on topics that are just, and they're like actually Walsh is coming on, Matt Walsh, and we were texting about it, and he's like, I'm saying like, the topic is up in the air. Because we've done things like dating disasters.
Mm-hmm.
And a really fun one was ghost stories. Like I didn't expect ghost stories to be so much fun, but I just want, like, I've listened to Howard Stern for a million years, and people will call in there and, he'll stop the show when somebody calls in and says, my wife let me have a 3-way last night. Or like, there was one recently was so good about a guy like had dropped his kids off at school and then had to go to the bathroom. So went to his parents' house and came in and caught his like elderly father masturbating to porn on the phone,
Oh my God.
But just stories like that, people calling in with like, the worst, whatever, and so it's just meant to be fun. And Walsh was like pitching me all these like all these kind of like topics that are sort of, it's like, like they're kind of meaningful stuff, like maybe people's like dreams, like and stuff and what they're, and I was like, no, this is just meant to be like, I was like, eventually we're going to do a whole show of shit stories, but I'm saving it, like maybe a Christmas special or something, because I'm just like, that's like the creme de la creme of, because everybody, like the last time you shit your pants is a story that everyone has, and they're
just let me know the day and I'll call in. I shit my pants in the world's biggest crystal, the world's biggest
the Crystal Cathedral.
No. What's that called when you can crack it open?
Oh, a geode.
In the world's biggest geode, it's on an island off of the Ohio coast, and when I was a kid, I was really into rocks.
The Ohio coast? You mean in the Great Lakes?
It's in the Great Lakes. It's an island. It's called.
Because I was going to say there isn't an Ohio coast.
Yeah,
but on the Great Lakes.
It's on the Great Lakes. There's an island in the Great Lakes that everyone goes to.
Yeah.
And we took a boat out there, and we were walking in, and they said this is the world's biggest geode, and I didn't know what to expect. Type in the world's biggest geode.
The Pulpy.
No, that's not the one.
Oh, that's in Spain.
That's in Spain. So type in America.
America's biggest geode. There was a day when we
Put-in Bay.
When America had the biggest geode.
Can you type in an image of it? I'm really into rocks. When I was a kid, I was really into rocks, like really into rocks.
Crystal Cave.
A crystal cave. And I walked down a spiral step, and they wanted our reveal for the camera. So they were already set up.
Yeah,
and so we walked down like a spiral staircase, and we get down to the bottom, and I open my eyes, and I'm in the world's biggest geode, and I shit my pants aggressively.
Wow.
And I shit my pants so bad, then I was in khakis that I had to get a new pair of pants.
Oh my God.
But my reaction was so intense that I went, oh my God, and I shit all over myself.
Do you think it was just the crystal energy?
It was the crystal energy, I think. I mean, I'm obsessed with geodes, amethyst
that one
geodes.
where somebody's peeking out of it?
I think that's...
When it looks like a baked potato with a hole in it?
If I saw that amethyst, I'm obsessed with amethyst.
Yeah.
I keep them everywhere. I have them everywhere around my house, like my power rock.
Do you believe in crystal stuff?
I believe in amethyst.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I believe in amethyst. I always pick up amethyst wherever I am. And it's bigger. It's like a cave. It's all geode.
Oh, wow.
It's so overwhelming.
Wow.
And I shit my pants pretty aggressively there.
And you think it was because of that?
I think it was crystal energy. It just fucking overwhelmed
me. Did you ask
pants.
someone, hey, do people often shit their pants
And
here?
yes, I did. And they said, absolutely not. You're the first person to ever shit his pants in this geode. It's not a normal reaction.
Most people come.
Yeah.
Maybe you had an ass-gasm.
That is a perfect way to end this podcast. That is a fucking end on a high note, buddy. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Everyone call into the radio show on Sirius XM.
Yeah.
Team Coco.
Yeah, we're on. We do some of them live. We tape some of them, but it's really fun. It's been really, really fun to do.
And check out 3 Questions. Your fucking guests are awesome.
Thank you.
But I'll tell you right now, if you're a Wilco fan, that is the best Jeff Twitty interview I've ever heard in my entire life. You should interview him once a year.
You got to come over and be on it.
I would love to.
That would be great.
I'm a better guest than I am host.
Really?
Oh, I listen even less, and you will not speak at all.
I love it.
Thanks for doing this.
All right, thank you, Bert.
This episode was brought to you by The Machine.